Good morning, students. So our chapter breathing and exchange of gases is going on. Till now we have studied respiratory organs, then human respiratory system, and then mechanism of breathing and respiratory volumes and capacities. Now in this today we'll be studying about exchange of gases, how exchange of gases can take place in our body. In this slide, we are studying about partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide at different parts. So what does it mean basically? If we'll study about what are basically alveoli. Alveoli are the primary sites of exchange of gases, and alveoli are made up of squamous epithelium, and exchange of gases can occur between blood and tissues. Oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange in these sites by simple diffusion. Based on the pressure gradient, means they move from higher concentration to lower concentration, and solubility of gases as well as the thickness of the membrane involved in diffusion are also some important factors that can affect the rate of diffusion. So here we'll study what does the partial pressure means. Uh, Pressure contributed by an individual gas in a mixture of gases is called partial pressure and is represented as PO2, partial pressure of oxygen for oxygen, and P carbon dioxide for partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Now in this graph you're seeing that respiratory gas oxygen in the atmosphere, it's 159 millimeter of mercury. In alveoli it's 104, and blood, deoxygenated blood it's 40, and blood oxygenated blood it's 95, and at tissues oxygen is 40, and then carbon dioxide which is present in the atmosphere is 0.3, very few amount, and alveoli it's 40, then deoxygenated blood 45, and oxygenated 40, and tissues 45. How these the figures are useful to us, we'll learn in the next slide. In this slide, we are watching the exchange of gases at the alveoli and the body tissues with blood and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So first of all, we just see alveolar air, where partial pressure of oxygen is 104 millimeter mercury and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 40 millimeter. So in alveoli, when the partial pressure of oxygen is more, but partial pressure of carbon dioxide is less, then pulmonary vein, it takes oxygen. It means that oxygen is needed in the blood body, and it's present more amount in the lungs, so it will move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Then the oxygen will move from lungs to capillaries, and with the help of pulmonary vein it goes into left atrium, and from left atrium it goes to left ventricle, and from left ventricle aorta, systemic arteries, and these are carrying oxygenated blood towards the tissues. Now at this point you just observe that partial pressure of oxygen is 95 millimeter and partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 40 millimeter. So now in the tissues, exchange of gases will take place, because in the tissues catabolism is going on regularly, continuously. So glucose molecules will take oxygen and it will convert it into carbon dioxide and water. So here you will notice that in the tissues, carbon dioxide is present in more amount than oxygen. Now you just watch that systematic veins, partial pressure of oxygen is less, but partial pressure of carbon dioxide, that is 45 millimeter, is more. Now as the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more, then it will move from higher concentration to lower concentration. Now vena cava will collect systematic veins, which collectively form vena cava, will collect carbon dioxide, and the blood will become deoxygenated blood. Now this deoxygenated blood from all the systemic veins with the help of vena cava enters into right atrium, and from right atrium it goes into right ventricle, and right ventricle pushes the deoxygenated blood with the help of pulmonary arteries to the lungs. Now pulmonary arteries carrying deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood means more amount of carbon dioxide is present. So carbon dioxide will diffuse from pulmonary artery to lungs because of higher concentration to lower concentration. So as pulmonary arteries are having deoxygenated blood, so carbon dioxide from pulmonary artery will go to lungs, and from the lungs it's expired air. So expired air is more having carbon dioxide, and inspired air is having more oxygen. If we have done activity earlier that if we have some lime water in a test tube, and then we blow some air from our mouth, then the lime water will turn milky. Just because in our mouth, with the air we are exhaling, it's having more amount of carbon dioxide, and so the lime water will become milky. So this is the diagram, the diagrammatic representation of exchange of gases at the alveoli and the body tissues with blood and transport of oxygen and carbon dioxide, which is just based on the partial pressures of two gases, that is oxygen and carbon dioxide, and these are moving from higher concentration to lower concentration. In this slide, we are watching alveolar cavity, alveoli, and blood capillary. So, alveoli is made up of squamous epithelium, and capillary is made up of endothelium tissue. So, if we see that how the diffusion can take place from capillary, from endothelium of capillary, and then in between basement membrane is present and squamous epithelium of alveoli. So the air has to pass three layers, means endothelium of capillary, basement membrane, and squamous epithelium of alveoli. So this membrane is of 2 millimeter thickness. So as the gas will move from here, then the as we know, the partial pressure of oxygen in the alveoli is higher, that is 104 millimeter, and then that in the deoxygenated blood in the capillaries of the pulmonary arteries, that is 95 millimeter. As the gases diffuse from higher to lower concentration, the movement of oxygen is from the alveoli to the blood, and vice versa in the case of carbon dioxide.